Hello everybody, my name is Cade Olaf and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over the top 10 questions that you should ask when interviewing a realtor to work with. Now, it may come as a shock to you, but yes, you do have the opportunity when either selling or purchasing a home to interview multiple realtors before, ultimately coming up with a decision on who you want to work with and who you feel fits best with your needs. Now, I don't know exactly the stat, but I want to say it's a high stat. Somewhere in like 70 or 80% of people typically just use the first realtor that they see or find or know of. And even though that's not necessarily the wrong thing to do, I mean, you are making one of the biggest transactions of your life potentially. And so it might be wise to do a little due diligence, take the time, meet a couple different realtors, and really get some perspective on who it is you want to work with. Because let's face it, even though all realtors can pretty much do the same thing, different realtors have different experience, different strategies, and really different tools that you can use for your unique situation. So before we begin the video, I'm just going to give a breakdown. The first 3 questions that we're going to be going over are for both buyers and sellers, and then the rest of the questions will be divvied up in between seller-specific questions and then buyer-specific questions. Now, I am taking all of these questions from bankrate.com, which actually put out an article, and my understanding is that they interviewed a ton of people and then procured these questions based on that data. So I'm just making this video based on this website. Obviously, you can come up with your own questions, but I've already read through them. They're pretty darn good questions and something you should consider moving forward. So with that in mind, let's start with question number 1. This is for both buyers and sellers. So whether you're buying a home or you're looking at selling your home, these are a couple questions that you'd want to ask a prospective realtor, okay? So first and foremost, how long have you been in business? Now, some people would say this isn't important. I could agree to probably why it might not be important. However, you do want to make sure that the person you are working with has experience under their belt, and the only way that they have experience is that they've either been in the business a long time or they do a lot of deals every single year. And so arguably, I'd probably use a realtor myself that does more deals than just been in the business longer, because let's face it, you could find a realtor that's been in the game for 10, 20 years, but they only do 2 to 3 deals a year, and what does that really help you? So I would argue that I'm more concerned as a consumer finding someone who represents more people on more deals than someone who's been in the business longer, but might be a good question for you to ask. Second question, how will you communicate with me and how often? People, if there is one thing that you take from this video, I hope it's this question, and it is not asked enough. How will you communicate with me and how often? You would be surprised at how many agents, with all the time on their hands, cannot get back to people. That's probably the number 1 complaint in real estate is my agent never got back to me. They were hard to communicate with. It amazes me. So one thing I tell all my clients is this: at bare minimum, I communicate with you once a week. I get you a weekly update on where we're at in the transaction. If not every single day, I'm contacting them. Okay, so it amazes me how people don't ask this, but it amazes me even further how many agents suck at communication. So definitely make sure that they communicate well, and one way you can verify that, opposed from talking to the agent themselves, is checking their reviews. I can almost guarantee you, if they're very good at communication, you'll see that reflected in the reviews that their clients write. The third question is, are you a full-time agent? And I think this is a great question because, let's face it, a lot of agents out there are only doing this part-time. Maybe they are a firefighter full-time and just do agent work on the side, or maybe they have another full-time business and then just have their real estate license in case they have friends who want to sell. When you are making the biggest transaction of your life, you want someone who's doing this all of the time, because they're going to have the contacts and, again, the experience in order for you to utilize that within your transaction. Okay, so I think that's a great question. Are you a full-time agent? Because if you're not, I'm probably going to be more inclined to hire someone who's full-time doing this than someone who's just doing this on the weekends when they have time. They basically put it on the back burner. I want you working for me all the time if I'm hiring you and paying you the money that I'm paying you. All right, guys, so that's for buyers and sellers. Now let's go over the questions specific to sellers. So if you are going to sell your property, these are some questions you might consider asking your realtor that you're interviewing. What price would you recommend if I were in a rush to sell, and also if timing were not an issue? Okay, pretty good question. It does differ, and it probably does depend. Again, like I said before, every agent is going to have their own strategy on how they sell your home. And so, in their presentation, they might answer that question for you. Number 5, what is your marketing strategy? Okay. What I can tell you is this: most all agents, actually pretty much all of them, have access to the MLS. And that's really ideally what's going to get your home sold. It's not Zillow, it's not Realtor, it's not any of that crap. Okay, it can go on there, but what's really going to sell your home is the fact that there are other agents looking and scouring the MLS, and as soon as your home comes on the market, they have a buyer that's ready, willing, and able, and really wants your home because they've been looking for some time. Okay, so typically that's how homes get sold. You can find, stuff on Zillow and Realtor and all, and it's good to be on all those platforms, good to be on social media, but again, the main way homes get sold is through the MLS. So just know that as a prospective client, when you're interviewing agents, marketing strategy is important, but what's really going to get your home sold is the fact that it's on MLS, it's priced well, and it's great marketing photos. That's ideal. Number 6, how will my home be introduced to other realtors? Great question, and I just kind of went over that. MLS, right? One thing I prefer to do with my seller clients is not do open houses, because to be honest with you, all open houses really do is just bring nosy neighbors who want to see how you did your kitchen versus theirs. It doesn't sell the house. Rarely does it ever just sell the house. And really, it's just a lead generation tool for agents to hold to find buyers for other properties. So if I'm representing you as a seller, I'm not interested in finding buyers for other properties. I'm interested in selling your home. And so that's what I tell all my seller clients. So how I introduce your home to other realtors, in my case, would just be on the MLS, websites, direct marketing, sending them out to agents in our sphere. Those are the questions for sellers. Now let's go down to buyers. If you are buying a home, these are the questions you might consider asking your realtor when interviewing them. How will you present my offers to sellers? Great question. How will you structure my offer and present it to the seller? This is when we get into negotiation. How well can you negotiate as an agent? And to be honest with you, some agents are not good at it. And so that's a great question. How will you present my offers to sellers? How can I trust that what I want to get across to the sellers is actually truthfully getting across in a professional and legal way, right? So I think that's a great question. Next question, number 8, how would you help me navigate a potential bidding war? Beautiful. This is crucial when it comes to communication. How well does that agent communicate with you, right? If they can't even communicate with you on a day-to-day basis, how are they going to professionally and properly navigate a bidding war for you, right? If you really want that home, how are you going to effectively communicate that to an owner of a property who has 6 offers on the table, right? But you can't even get back to your client, on a simple text. Okay, so these are things to consider as you're interviewing agents, because it's very, the way they do one thing as an agent is the way they do practically everything. Okay, it just is what it is. So that's a great question. I love that question. Number 9, what is your availability for getting out to showings quickly? Oh, this is a great, beautiful question, especially, right, for buyers. We're talking about buyers here. Buyers typically, when there is a home that comes on the market, they need to go see it fast, especially if we were, or if we are in a market like 2021 and 2020. Crazy. You got to get to homes like within the hour. So that's a great question. What is your availability like? And I always encourage, people who are looking to buy, ask the realtor what their availability is, because that's going to make or break deals for you depending on the market that you're in. You could see a home that's perfect for what you guys need, but you can't get access to it because your agent's busy, off doing whatever, and you can't see it, and then it sells. How heartbreaking. That's awful because you had a lousy agent. Okay, so that's a very important question to ask. And last and final question, number 10, how many properties should I see before I make an offer on one? That's a great question, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. You don't know. It's your first time buying a home. How do you know what to expect? Okay. And so what I would say to this, if you were interviewing me as an agent, typically we look at 4 at a time. We look up to 16 properties, and then from there you kind of have a right to go find someone else if you don't feel like we're representing you well. The reason we do 4 at a time is because by the time you look at more than 4 in one day, you start forgetting what you see. Okay, and that's a problem. We want to make sure that everything you're seeing is exactly the criteria that interests you, because you shouldn't be needing to see more than 16 homes before making an offer. You should know exactly what you want. That's also a great question, right? Because you, especially as first-time home buyers or just even regular buyers, you don't want to be looking around for 6 months driving to properties all across town and wasting a ton of time, resources, and energy. You want to make sure that you are looking at properties that actually fit your needs, and you want to make sure that the agent is on the same page with you as far as what your criteria is, because they may have access to homes or coming soon listings that you're not aware of, or that the internet's not even aware of, that they could show you prior to it coming to market. And so you need to make sure that your criteria for the home that you want is properly explained to them and understood. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Again, these are the 10 questions that you should consider asking when interviewing a realtor. Again, this is if you're selling a property, if you're buying a property. And guys, if you know anyone or you yourselves are interested in purchasing property, rentals, investments, land, whatever it is out here in Southern Arizona, I would be more than honored to earn the opportunity to work with you guys. Again, my name's Cade Olaf. I sell residential real estate out here in Southern Arizona. If you guys liked the video and you got some value from it, feel free to leave a thumbs up, comment on what question you liked the best, and consider subscribing to my channel as I put more content out like this. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.